Hello, everybody, and it's so funny. There's going to be like weeks between those two videos.
I don't think it even caught me doing the clapping.
No, I think it did.
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, we're back for another supporting your deck video in this series for learning ARKHAM Horror, the card game. This started with Eric wanting me to tell this about Guardians, but Eric enjoyed it, and everyone watching at home enjoyed it, so I made another one for the Seeker class to talk about how you support your Seeker deck or your Seeker class archetypes like roll without just like more cards that do that thing. Yeah.
I'm excited for this too because I believe I will be playing a Seeker again.
Yeah,
soon.
You're going to be a Mystic Seeker. You're going to be a Mystic Seeker.
Still.
But there's still a lot of support that you'll find in here because it is Luke's off class. Yeah, 05, 02. All right, so in this video, we're going to showcase what you can do to support your deck to accomplish its goals. If you know the purpose of every card in your deck, you'll understand why you'll want to include certain cards over others in future decks. In addition, this video will be focusing on a traditional Seeker. This is like my Harvey. Harvey, I would call like that goal is a traditional Seeker, the one that wants to gather clues and advance the objective. As I said also in a video that Eric and I just recorded, a traditional Seeker will dictate the pace of the game. So that's kind of like the objective of it. You dictate how quickly you're going to win. Because this video is all about supporting that style of play, we won't be talking about cards that gather clues or help you investigate. So it's not going to be something that like you use to get more clues or like raise your stats for clue actions and all that. It's about supporting the idea of having a more consistent deck at achieving this goal. Okay, so we're going to talk about consistency first. So like with the Guardian video, we're going to talk about consistency. I did that intro twice. I'm a baller. The Seeker class approaches their consistency different than Guardians do. Their consistency can be found in powerful card draw or searching effects. What's the most consistent way to get the cards you want? Just draw more cards that help you find more cards. This is different than we talked about for the Guardian one, which are specifically looking about for specific cards, right? Which was like Prepared for the Worst, Backpack, Tetsuo Mori were some of those examples from that. Stick to the Plan, the card where you got to put 3 tactics or supplies on it to play them from your hand as if they were in there. Those are about finding specific things. The Seeker one is generally, for the most part, just about having more. Seeker is, a lot of people online say that Seeker is the strongest class in the game, and I wouldn't argue against that opinion. I personally think the Rogue class has a higher ceiling, but the Seeker is very good because their whole thing is just drawing cards.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very powerful. So you see we have some examples here. Deep Knowledge. Essential cost to play Deep Knowledge. Add 2 Curse Tokens to Chaos Bag. Investigators at your location draw a combined total of 3 cards. So you can actually divvy it out where it goes. It's a very powerful effect. Also for 0. Another one here, which is really good at just providing your deck more consistency, is called Studious. This is a permanent, which means it's always in play after you buy it. You just start with 1 additional card in your opening hand.
I can't use that because it's 3 experience, right?
Yeah, Luke can't. Yeah. But yeah, so that means you buy 2 of them and you have 7
No, I'm a Seeker too as well, Justin.
You buy 2 of those and you have 7 cards in your opening hand, which means now in your potential opening mulligan, you can see 14 cards. Right, which is very powerful. So you can see that this is where like the Seekers come in. That they just are like consistency is like their thing because they just have so much like deck control and manipulation and card draw. No Stone Unturned is another example of this. They do searching effects. 2 cost event. Choose an investigate location that investigator searches up 6 cards of his or her deck for cards, then draws it and shuffle his or her deck. You also see this in Mr. Rook where I'm playing, where I get to just actionless search 9 at the cost of finding a basic weakness, which isn't a problem. It's actually a reward, right? Last one we have here is Research Librarian. So this is also very powerful search effects, which is just after it enters the play, search your deck for a tome asset and add it to your hand. So as I said in the previous video, I think what's very important about deck building is knowing the goal of your deck. So I guess the question is, when would you want to run each of these cards as opposed to the other? A big thing about Seeker is actually there's going to be a lot of like cross between it because their big way of being more consistent is card draw. Card draw works everywhere. But this example that I found with Research Librarian, you're not going to be playing him unless you have tomes that you want to be digging out of your deck.
Precisely.
Likewise with No Stone Unturned. I think No Stone Unturned is more for finding a specific card or helping other investigators find specific cards. Studious and Deep Knowledge, I think, are just generally good Seeker cards, though. Like, those can just, like... You don't need a reason for those. In fact, you kind of need a reason to not play Deep Knowledge. And my reason is just that I've played it too much. So I kind of just stopped.
Because we don't need Harvey any stronger than he currently is.
Could you imagine that? Just draw 4?
Yeah.
That'd be insane. But the Seeker class also has a huge variety of strong allies. With one of the allies that many consider to be one of the most reliable in the entire game. That's the bottom left, Dr. Milan Christopher. Notably, you'll notice that these 3 allies here are going to be providing economy in addition to their passive skill boost. Once again, just showing how consistent the Seeker class is. And I think that's really what comes down to why the Seeker class is so strong. Number 1, investigating is arguably the most powerful action in the game. But number 2, their like archetype is card draw, right? That is incredibly powerful.
That's
right.
wild.
It's like in Magic with blue, right?
Yeah.
Blue was so powerful for a very long time because the card draw was really good. This has been caught up in other colors, and other colors can put up against but now in Modern Magic, every color is frickin'. They can do whatever they want, but there's still like
Salt.
but like there's still that kind of thing that like card draw in early Magic was what made blue so powerful. If you look at like Ancestral Recall, 1 mana, draw 3 cards. Yeah. Incredibly powerful, and that's like Seeker's thing. We just saw that in Deep Knowledge, pretty much. But looking at their allies, Dr. Milan Christopher, +1 book. After you successfully investigate, gain a resource. You're doing what you want to be doing and getting paid for it. Jeremiah Kirby gives you +1 book. Helps you do what you want to do. After you enter play, choose even or odd. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Draw each card with a cost that matches the chosen option. Card draw! Just on an ally that you play, and it can go up to 5 cards. And then this guy hangs around and gives you book.
Question about him.
Yeah.
What does 0 count as for
Even.
this? Even. Okay.
Yeah. We got Wit and Green, the level 0 and the level 2. She gives you +1 book or +1 Brandon book for upgraded version if you have a Tome or Relic asset in play. So she's already telling you why you would want to play her over Dr. Milan or Jeremiah. And she also has a reaction ability. After you reveal or put a new location into play, you can exhaust Wit and Green, search top 6 cards of your deck for a Tome or Relic, and you draw and shuffle your deck. Wow. Notably, if you're going to be playing, I have to confirm this, but I'm pretty confident with Luke Robinson, your whole thing puts a location into play. So you could, if you wanted, use Wit and Green as your choice ally because she only goes up to Seeker 2, right? And then you can build around relics and tomes, potentially do some cool stuff with it. So like once again, going back to my previous point, you want to be able to know why you're including these allies. So with these ones, like what draws you to each of them generally?
Well, I mean, I see why Dr. Milan Christopher is just basically the best. For 4 points, same as everybody else, almost the same stat lines as everybody else. He adds a book and then eventually pays back not only himself, but for all future cards you gain. And as the Seeker, you want to be investigating.
Yeah.
And it's every time you successfully investigate. You might be doing 2 or 3 investigations in a turn.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah. He was, for people who might also be playing with the taboo list, even if you're new, he does exhaust now, which makes him a lot more fair. But still, he's still very reliable.
Very reliable.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Kirby, I could see a way to really abuse this character. Yeah. If you can either find a way to cycle him or find a way to do anything with him otherwise, but also just know your deck. If you've built an entire deck with even or odd costs,
he's just draw 5.
He's literally just a 4 cost, draw 5, +1 permanent book.
Yes, yeah.
Which seems insane to me.
He's also been tabooed. He can now only do it 2 times a game.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is good.
Because of the recycling thought I had.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Wit and Green obviously is going to be good if you have a Tome or a Relic. She also helps you fetch Tome or Relic, so she is great for a deck that's looking for something.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
However, they also have a variety of utility allies that you can synergize with a variety of other cards to great effect. Often you'll see Seeker decks that follow this path due to their power of their allies. Actually, you also sometimes see them just put these in tandem with one another, with some of the previous ones. So Laboratory Assistant, 2 cost, your maximum hand size is increased by 2, and after an enters play, draw 2 cards. Just a simple draw 2, soaks for you and goes away once you're done with her. Also increases your hand size. Art Student, also 2 cost, after enters play, discover a clue your location. What if we pair this with a card like Calling in Favors, which is choose an ally asset you control and return it to your hand. Then search top 9 cards of your deck for an ally asset and play it, reducing the cost by X, where X the cost of the ally you return to your hand. So, you can play a Laboratory Assistant, draw 2 cards, return to your hand, and I don't know, maybe find a Jeremiah Kirby and put him into play. And then have him only cost 2 and draw a bunch more. These are the things that you could be doing with these small utility allies. Miskatonic Archaeology Funding is another way to take advantage of this. It's a permanent. You have 2 additional ally slots which only behold Miskatonic, which, if we look at these guys and go back, wow, they're all Miskatonic allies. Who would have thought? This, once again, goes to my point about consistency. When you're able to just, like, make any of your allies work or use your allies to grab different allies, that's
2 additional ally slots.
Yeah, which can only hold... There is a downside. When you take any damage or horror, no more than one of it can be assigned to a Miskatonic asset.
Okay,
so they're not there to soak for you as much as they are to, like...
add benefits.
And chip damage off of you. But
now, with that Miskatonic, you have to draw that card.
No,
out.
that's a permanent. That's just in play. Yeah, that's just in play. So also, like, what you also kind of see with when playing with the Harvey deck, kind of the power of Seekers.
Yeah.
Where they can, like, also just stop other people from playing, which is a big problem that people have with Seekers. I'm glad I've been able to do this fantasy, because it's going to be nice to go back to something a bit more down to earth. But you can see the power of what just draw does to make your deck more consistent. On top of that, we ain't done. You thought we were done with the allies. We ain't. The Seeker class also has a good number of allies that can really shine in certain archetypes. This goes back to my point of finding the ally that's best for your deck. Yes, this is something that we also say on the channel a lot. Dr. Milan Christopher kind of just pushes a lot of other allies out because he's just so consistent. But Seeker still has another bunch of powerful tools depending on the deck that you're going for. Abigail Foreman, for example, she attaches a tome to your play area to her, or switches a tome asset in your play area with an attached asset. Then attached takes up no hand slots. As a reaction, after you resolve an action ability on the attached tome asset, you can resolve the effects again. So, as I'm going to be like, as I have them on the screen, where do you feel that each of these allies guide your deck's identity? When you have powerful tome effects that you want to trigger multiple times. That's a very powerful effect, right? Library Docent. After owner's play, return a tome asset you control to its owner's hand. Play a different tome asset by title, reducing its cost by 2. This is less about the powerful effects, but more tomes with limited uses, being able to refresh them. Eldritch Sophist. 4 cost, 3 secrets. As a lightning bolt exhausts him, move a secret or charge asset from you control to another asset controlled by investigator location. Being able to move charges and secrets around can lead to potentially powerful things. And then we got Dr. Ellie Horowitz, who just searched for a relic asset. You can attach it to her and it doesn't take up any slots. So certainly, like, not a great ally compared to the other ones, but still a powerful ally if you are looking for taking advantage of relics and you don't have Wit and Green, or you're less about finding like more relics, but more like looking for that one relic, or potentially abusing the fact that it doesn't take up any slots as well.
Yeah, because that's what Abigail Foreman is blowing my mind with.
Yeah.
She effectively duplicates every tome you give her.
Yes. Which you only give one at a time, though.
Yeah, but that means that you basically get... So assuming you play that Miskatonic thing and you've got Abigail, you've abused yourself into 3 allies, one of whom gives you 1 extra hand slot that is effectively 2 extra of the same tome. My brain is hurting by just how much you have statistically increased your ability to do things compared to anyone else by slots alone. Yeah,
and a pretty basic example of this, Daisy Walker, the librarian investigator, she has an action ability to... She can do... Her ability is she can do 1 tome action a turn. A common one she does is Old Book of Lore, which is look at the top 3. An investigator location looks at the top 3, puts a card into their hand. Now with Abigail Foreman, you can do that twice, right? And pretty low impact in terms of like advancing the game, but really high impact in terms of giving you juice to advance the game with.
Yeah.
Right?
At that point, it becomes about what else is in your deck.
Yeah. All right, quick stop at the fun, the all-powerful deck-building pyramid. Purpose, economy, function, and fun. Notably, as I've been saying, a lot of the economy is so good in the Seeker class, which really helps the lower levels really achieve what they want to be doing. The higher levels achieve what they want to be doing. So much so that the Seeker class is probably the class you can have the most fun with, the easiest, because you can find the fun cards even easier. All right, let's talk about the economy on the resource side. We've already talked a bunch of their card draw, but lo and behold, there's going to be more card draw coming up in the future. So, the economy is quite powerful and consistent in accomplishing its goal. In addition, a good portion of the Seeker economy rewards you for what you want to be doing, which I think is huge. However, there are still portions of the Seeker economy decks that are better in certain decks than others. Sorry, brain's mushy. But I think the biggest thing here for the first two on the left, these are economy that, like, this is like the Dr. Milan philosophy, where he gives you money for investigating. Crack the case, 0 cost, fast. Play after an investigator discovers the last remaining clue at your location. Investigate your location, gain a total of X resources, distribute it as you wish, where X is that location's shroud value. So very powerful economy. Usually gives out 3 to 4 resources, divvied up as you want, but it's reactive, right? You're advancing the game and making money while doing it. Next one, Burning the Midnight Oil, which you see in my Harvey deck. 0 cost event, investigate. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. Again, you're just like, so it's actually kind of funny. The Guardian have a version of this where it's a fight action, and the Rogue have a version of it where it's an evade action. The Rogue one is actually more playable than the fight action one, which is crazy, the Guardian one. But this one is like easily the most playable because it goes back to the point where an investigate action is one of the most powerful in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at some additional cards here that are great economy. Cryptic Writings. Gain 2 resources. After you draw it, during your turn, you play it. So if you do a lot of draw, unless you're me, I've never hit this. Like, I think I've hit it once. And then we got Astounding Revelation, which it cannot be played. But when you search your deck, if Astounding Revelation is among the search cards, either gain 2 resources or place a secret on an asset you control. So a lot of people, like, say, for example, they're running like a research librarian. This card's myriad, so you can actually put 3 of them in your deck when you buy them. It's like Easy Mark, right? Sometimes people just put 1 in if they're playing a research librarian, and it pays for the research librarian, right? Because research librarian costs 2, you do this, you get an extra 2 back, and it pays for it for free. It's these small things where you can find like the right economy for your deck to really support it. It's a crazy card too. Shocked Rabbi, we call him. It's fun to play with. All right. Oh, I had the same thing up top. Don't mind that. That's supposed to be different. We're talking about card draw now.
Okay.
But the card draw also, we've talked about, we're like, oh, no, I guess this is still economy. This is still economy. That's why I changed the bottom on purpose. I'm putting this on a separate slide. The card draw is also phenomenal. I've already talked about a bunch of it, but there's still more, and there's also focused card draw as well. Cryptic Research, 0 cost, 4 experience, fast. Choose an investigator, draws 3 cards.
That's
not
wild.
even an action. It's crazy. Practice makes perfect. So it's a 1 cost event. Play during a skill test location. Search the top 9 cards of your deck for a practice skill and commit it to the skill test if able. But an example of this is Deduction, which is the one that gets an additional clue if you succeed. And if you pass, you get to add that card to your hand. You're doubling up on your skill card, which is really powerful. Dream Enhancing Serum is a really cool one where we talk about the hand size part of it. Only the first copy of each card in your hand counts towards your maximum hand size. And then after you draw a copy of a card that is already in your hand, you get to reveal both copies and exhaust Dream Enhancing Serum to draw a card. So it's just like, it makes your hand really big for big hand size decks. Or if you're drawing a lot of cards or keeping things back. And then there's Grim Memoir, which is a tome. 4 secrets. Spend a secret and investigate. You get +2 book for this investigation. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may draw a card.
With Dream Enhancing Serum, statistically, if you're doing 2 cards of each type, you're probably drawing about 2/3 of your deck in a given chance.
You can be drawing a lot, especially if you keep stuff back. Mm-hmm. And also if you can increase your hand size as well, because then 2 copies of a card don't matter, right? Yeah. It's 1. It's cool. It's really fun. I had a dream once where Travis had 100 cards in his hand, and I'll never forget that. He's like, Justin, look, 100 cards. However, we are not done yet. Another method of supporting your deck as a seeker is by utilizing cards that allow you to save on movement, which allows you to spend more time investigating. This is like a very indirect but direct way to support your ability of getting your goal of advancing the game and getting clues, which is spending more action getting clues. So moving, and not having to spend time moving, means you can spend more time investigating. So we have a 0 cost shortcut, level 0. Fast, play only during your turn. Choose an investigate location, move that investigator to a connecting location. The level 2 version costs 1 and you attach to a location, and it gains exhaust shortcut, move to a connecting location.
So you add it to the actual game state.
So here's a quick question. Like, why do you think you would choose one over the other?
Well, for one, I'm pretty sure, doesn't Robinson have like a special location he creates? So if I slapped this
No, because that location goes away. That location does go away.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use this to avert all sorts of land effects, area effects. You can use it to... I don't know, I think that's it.
Yeah, so this one's a little bit like, it's like most of the time the level 0 version is actually just better and more consistent.
Yeah.
But it becomes one of those things where, like, if you know, like, this is for like reruns, when you know that there is like something that you want, like a central point you're going to be moving around on, shortcut 2 becomes really good, right? But like even then, like if you get a few moves, if you get 2 moves out of shortcut 2, like because other people can use it too, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I see in a 4-player game this getting way stronger.
Yeah. We have Pathfinder. 3 cost, 1 experience. Is lightning bolt during your turn if you're not engaged with any enemies. Exhaust Pathfinder, move to a connecting location. And then we got Join the Caravan. This one's pretty specific, but also like the rate can be really fair even if you're paying 4 for it. Fast, play only during your turn. Reduce this cost by 1 for each different class among cards you control. Move to any revealed location.
Dang.
Yeah. So your Investigator is a card you control, which means that if you are a Seeker, this will cost you 4.
That's wild.
Yeah. If you're a Mystic and you have a Seeker asset, it'll cost you 3.
That's wild. Yeah. That's a strong card.
Yeah. This is like one of those examples of like a card that would be a great one of.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need this effect more than once in a game usually. But even like Pathfinder is just like saving action on moving is juicy. And like the Guardian class, you can support your other players' decks by also packing some enemy management, like how they can get clues. You've seen some of this firsthand, but this is like that's like the peak enemy management. Generally, enemy management can be powerful in the Seeker class, but it's more one-time burst damage than consistent damage that Guardians can provide. For the most part, there is the Ancient Stone, which is disgusting. So, like, I've got a plan. Fight. This attack uses Book. You deal +1 damage for this attack for each clue you have to a max of 3 damage. Notably, though, this is like I like the balance of this card a lot because it doesn't actually boost your Book.
Yeah.
So Guardians, their weapons usually boost, but they deal less damage. This is also a one-time effect, so if you've missed, you spent 3 resources. Occult Invocation, 2 costs. As additional cost to play, you can discard up to 2 cards. It is use a Book instead of Fist, and you get extra Book and damage for each card you discarded. So showing again, one's about like hand size. Card draw turns those cards into something else. Bloodright is another example of that. It's a 0 cost bonded, which means that it's connected to another card which you need to play first. Draw 2 cards, discard up to 2 cards from your hand. For each card discarded, you either gain a resource or spend a resource to deal a damage to an enemy at your location. So once again, turning cards and your extra money into potential damage options.
That's solid.
And then we got a new one, which I think is a really clever part of the Secret Color Pie. Parlay. This is Existential Riddle. 1 cost, 1 experience. Parlay. Choose a non-elite enemy at your location and test Brain or Book 8. It gets -1 difficulty for each other card in your hand. If you succeed, the automatically evade the chosen enemy and attach Existential Riddle to it. It gains Aloof. So it's too busy thinking and pondering your question.
I look at it just a small child on the roof. So the small child was the one we evaded.
Yeah. I like to think, though, that she posed a riddle to Yog Sothoth, and he was like, well, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. Like, these are examples of, I think that, like, for the most part, Seeker damage is pretty fair. There's a few outliers that you have to work towards, admittedly, but you also don't have to work that hard. But I think for the most part. Last stuff we have here, like the Guardian deck, this is the Guardian video, there's tools that you can support other players and protect yourself in the Mythos phase. Logical Reasoning, 2 cost, play only if you have a clue. Choose an investigator location. That investigator either heals 2 horror, discards a terror card from his or her threat area.
Sick.
So nice burst healing. There's an upgraded version where it's level 4. I think it costs 0 and you do it for up to 3 different clues, that effect. It's really powerful. Forewarned, 0 cost, 1 experience, fast when you draw a non-weakness treachery card. Place one of your clues on your location that cancel that card's revelation effect. Mythos deck management. The Disc of Itzamna, 3 cost, 2 experience. As a reaction, when a non-elite enemy spawns your location, discard Disc of Itzamna, discard that enemy. And then we got the Narcotic Manuscripts. 5 cost, 5 experience, so you know it's good. Takes up the hand slot, uses 3 secrets. When investigate location, will perform a skill test during a revelation effect, spend a secret as a reaction. Do not reveal chaos tokens for that test. And then as an action, it's the same thing, but it's for the next time someone does a test.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So these are kind of like the things that, like the variety of things that Seekers can do, and in all of their glory.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
And y'all thought that was crazy? Wait till we get to the Rogue video.
Your personal favorite?
No, Survivors are my personal favorite. But the Rogues are, as I said, their ceiling can be really high. And they have a lot of deck tricks to make their deck super consistent. It's really cool. And unlike now Guardian and Seeker, it becomes a little bit different. Because Guardian and Seekers, they have like their defined idea for what a regular Guardian or Seeker deck is. Rogue, Mystics, and Survivors don't. They can kind of like fill what roles are needed. So we'll be talking about those in the future. But hopefully this one, you enjoyed this one like you did with the Guardian video. Hopefully you also enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, I loved that.
And then thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.